if you're starting to see numbers and they're aligning and they're showing up everywhere, it's probably because you are in some way magical and magnetic at this time.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. Today I'll be talking with Kyle Gray, one of the UK's youngest, most sought-after angel experts, the author of at least 6 books, the creator of at least 3 angel card decks, and the author of, hey, I know there's more coming, the author of a fascinating guide for getting guidance from the angels' angel numbers. And that's just what I want to talk with him about today, about the message and meaning behind 1111 and other number sequences and what they mean for you. That, plus we'll talk about Jurassic Park nightlights, robot moves, and bull haircuts. Gotcha. Guillain-Barré syndrome and flat feet. Oh, we've got to talk. Little plastic monsters and Fantasia, robot moves and bull haircuts. We covered that. A love of bric-a-brac, Tora the dog, and what in the world Nana's cheese has to do with anything.
You've done your research. I am impressed. You know some secrets. That's amazing.
So welcome to the show, Kyle. Are you ready to shine?
I am, Michael. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I told you, one of your most fun interviews ever, or double your interview back. So we are going to dive just a little bit into your story. But before we do that, it is the most common number that my wife, Jessica, and I see almost around every bend. What in the world is up with 1111?
It's not a new message. It's an ancient message. We have heard it thousands of times from different spiritual teachers and masters all around the world. But when you are starting to see 1111 or 111 showing up all around you, it's the ultimate message that you are one. You are one with the everything that is and ever will be. And not only is it a message, it's also a call to action. You know, first of all, it's this ultimate sign and reminder to you that you are part of something greater. You are not insignificant, but significant. And it's also a call to action because you're ultimately interconnected through this bond of energy that unites us, the universe. You also have an opportunity to contribute to that oneness. So it's a call to action to almost be the angel. And I've always believed that in order to see the angels, we have to be the angels. So it's this, you know, it's this call for light, and it's this invitation to remember that you are one with all.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think this is profound. See the angel. You have to be the angel. So if we go back, I'm thinking about people now who are starting to see repeating numbers and what this means for them and where they are on their journey. But if we go back in your journey to the age of 4, you were in a more, shall we say, angelic time period at that point. And so you were more open and receptive for what took place.
Right, exactly. And so it didn't necessarily start with numbers. It was more having these full visceral experiences of, you know, not just feeling things, but actually seeing full body apparitions, you know, like having full on clairvoyant visions, which actually happened, I believe, after me having Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is an autoimmune virus that attacks the nervous system. I think ultimately kind of guided me to a rock bottom space when it cracked me open in a new way, you know, and from that moment onwards, you know, I started to see the world from a very different lens. And it was interesting because, you know, when we look back, my parents really did everything by the book. They took me to doctors, they took me to specialists, all these different things, and to try and get like an idea of what was happening, because they didn't recognize anything spiritual was happening. They thought I was just having, you know, really bad migraines and, you know, dreams because of, I received like shock therapy and all these different things. So there's a lot that can go wrong, you know. So, yeah, but I believe that this experience of having Guillain-Barré syndrome and overcoming being paralyzed wasn't something that was supposed to happen, but it was an opportunity for me to do something with what happened. And I think my innocence led me to yes.
I'm going to challenge you on one thing for fun, and that this means to meddle. And you're speaking to someone. I've had 2 NDEs. I have twin titanium femurs, twin titanium hips. So I've been down this road, this cracked open road as well. And I think for people listening, we don't need these extents of cracked openness. But if you're listening, it means you're struggling, which may actually be a good thing. Are you sure it wasn't meant to happen?
I don't think it was, it was something that was lined up for me, but I don't believe it was, it happened for a reason, but I believe I found a reason in the happening.
Perfect. I like how you put that, Kyle. So, age of 4, you saw your nana, you saw your grandmother. Then you've got your dog basically scratching on the walls from the other side. After he crossed over, what was going on during this time period? And did you start to develop a relationship? There's nobody really to talk about, but did you start to develop a relationship with what was going on?
I had a lot of questions. So just to fill you in on some of that,
please.
I was brought up in it wasn't a Christian household, but it was like a loosely Christian household.
Yeah.
But my mum's family are newborn Christians, and I went to Sunday school from the age of 4 to 15. Mm-hmm. And, I'd heard about heaven as this place you go when you die. Yeah. But I'd also heard the stories that you never see anyone again. You'll see them when you go there, but you'll not see them until then. But I was like, well, how come I saw my nana then? Like, why did I see her? Why did that happen to me? So I had this, inquisitive nature from very early on. And I kind of had a bit of a challenge with God, essentially, from very early on, because my dog was dying. And it was the first time I ever said a prayer, and I remember just saying, please, God, save my dog. And my dog wasn't saved that day, it passed away. And I was like, if God's real, then why did he let me down? So I was asking all these questions very young, and it was something that really I quizzed for a long time. But there was a real disconnect between God and what was happening to me for a long time.
It's interesting. When I got hit by my first car.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh my God. Racing in the French Alps, trying to make it to the Tour de France. A safety official waves me through an oncoming turn into an oncoming car. And as I'm laying in the ground, my thoughts are, God is dead. There is no God.
Right.
But those experiences may actually be when we can step back, the most profound God experiences. And it sounds like that reframing took place. Actually, before you reframed, your mom reframed. I think you were maybe around 10 and she went to a party, a holy smokes party. What happened?
Oh yeah. So it wasn't as late as that. It was actually not that long after my experiences. My mom was a hairdresser, and she was invited to, one of her friends was hosting a psychic or something like that. Yeah. And basically the psychic arrived, and my mom was going to be last because she was working until later. Yeah. And the psychic refused to read anyone until my mom got to the house. Wow. She's a very well-known medium. Her name is Mary Armour. And she was like, I need to speak to Diane. They're like, how do you know she's coming? Like, how do you know her name? And they're like, because her mother, Agnes, is waiting on the bed here and she wants to speak to her. So my mum walked in the door, and she said to my mum first, a couple of things that was quite cheeky. And then she said, I have your mother, Agnes, here, very blasé about it. There wasn't any, do you understand? And it's all on tape, she's just like, I have your mother, Agnes, here. And she wants to speak about your blue-eyed boy, very like that. And it was pretty amazing. And she had then said, your son can do what I do. And by the time he's 17, he'll be known for doing this. And she said, it was a weird prediction. She said, you'll be on a cruise ship and then you'll come back and it'll be in the newspaper. And it's exactly what happened. Like, you couldn't make it up. It was just like so out of this world, her prediction. And we had been on a family cruise, and I came back and the newspaper printed this thing, the Daily Mail, Kyle Gray, the youngest medium in the UK. It was really, really wowing, you know.
And how did you begin to embody this? I guess around 15, you were starting to practice at the local church.
Right. So that same medium, I started then attending her spiritualist church and then went on to studying another psychic college. We had one in my hometown. How cool is that?
It doesn't get any cooler than that, Kyle.
I know. And so I started going to like local spiritualist churches and really starting to dabble. But there was, again, this disconnect for me because I wasn't just experiencing deceased people. I was also experiencing these non-human entities, which I call angels. And spiritualism, although it talks about the ministry of angels, it doesn't include angels in their practices. And I was like, I need to find a new way to do this. So I went as long as possible and then eventually just kind of broke off and went my own direction. And I had started building up a rapport publicly and around locally, you know, between 15, 16, 17. And then when I was 17, I'd left school at 15. I walked out and I applied for a Scottish-based government funding to start a spiritual business at 17 and I got it.
Wow. It's interesting.
So the government gave me money to start doing angel readings professionally, which was so cool.
Okay, that is just beyond cool. And that is, we're going to have to call that ordained because the odds of that happening, I can't speak for your government, at least over here. If the government actually gave you money for that, you'd be like, all right, the sky is really falling here.
Well, I think they'll probably be glad when they see my tax bills now, right? Woohoo! I gave them the money back.
I like it. I want to dive into the number 17 here. I really want to talk about where all these numbers came from. But this morning, when I flipped on the computer to speak with you, two numbers came up. 1717 was the first number that I saw, and then 21881, which is 18881, which is 18881. I'm like, wow, the number backwards. Let's just start with 17 right now, because I got that repeating, and now you're saying at 17, everything changed.
So I'll tell you just insight. So I don't remember the whole book of numbers offhand,
don't
right?
Have to.
But there is a key codex to angel numbers. It's like a scale of music. Like every single from 0 to 9, each one has a vibration or a number corresponding to it. So 1 is the number of oneness, the universe, connection. Like if you just think of like a direct connection straight up and down, that's 1. And 7 is the number of manifestation or magic or intention. So if you're seeing 17, it's about unite your thoughts with your purest intention and you'll receive it. Like it's just gentle like that. And that's how you work out the numbers. You just take the keywords or the key vibrations behind each number and then you can get to a message. So 17 is generally a number about becoming one with your thoughts or aligning your thoughts in a specific way in order to have a specific experience.
Thank you. So when did you start recognizing numbers, or when did they start, the best way to describe it in my life, chasing you down?
Right. It was kind of like an experiment. Initially, I remember when I first got my first ever mobile phone, like a cell phone, it was a Nokia. You remember the old ones? They had Snake on it. And it was back then when I got that, I was in my teenage years and I kept noticing like 15, we do 24-hour clock in the UK. So I was like 15:55, 11:11. I was seeing these numbers I was like, Mom, I keep looking at the time and all the numbers are the same. And she's like, you're crazy, like just having fun. And then I remember being a total millennial, Googling. I'm like, what does 11:11 mean? And I saw so many interpretations and ideas about it. And it didn't sit right. I was like, I know this means something, but I need to know for myself. And I always meditate when Google doesn't have the answer, And so I was just like, angels, thank you for revealing to me the true meaning of 11:11. And it was in a meditation, I just instantly was transported to seeing like Martin Luther King, Bob Marley. I saw the people praying at Mecca, Indian temples, like all different people from different races and backgrounds. And then I just heard we are all one. And that's when I started going, oh, 1111 saying we are 1111. And that's really where it all came from. And then I hadn't really thought about delving too deep into all the numbers. And then my office just started getting emails left, right, and center. I know you believe 1111 means this, but what about this number and this number and this number? And it was 2 Christmases ago, I was sitting on the couch just watching TV, and Reed Tracy texted me, the president of Hay House. He just sent me a text out of the blue, didn't even have his phone number. And he's like, hey, I noticed you keep getting asked about this angel number thing. Do you fancy writing a book about it from your perspective? And that night I had a dream about the scale. So then the scale was revealed to me, the 0, 1 to 9, with each vibrational coordination. So I wrote that down. And then over the course of 2 weeks, the book spewed out of me.
I understand this one, Kyle.
Right.
Something fascinating about this is I call universe, law of attraction, whatever we want to call it, a 2-step dance. Step number 1 is awareness. Step number 2 is action. So Amen. All of these numbers to you had that second step. What do you mean? It's a call to action.
So here's the thing. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe that we also have this amazing thing called free will. And I think the universe is very much in honor of us having our own experience. And when these numbers start showing up, it's an invitation, but not a order. And it's just, the universe saying, I'd love you to be part of my bigger picture. I'd love you to work deeper with me. I'd love to take you further, but I also want to honor your experience. I'm just going to be here in a non-intrusive way. And so I've started to come to this understanding that there's 3 things, we can do when we start seeing numbers. So that 3 things we should know. So the first one is, when you're seeing a number, it doesn't matter what the number is, there is one message. You are not alone. That's it. It's just really simple. You are not alone. The second thing, when you're seeing numbers in repeat, it's the universe telling you that you're already on the right path. So when numbers show up, you're doing something right, because as you know, the law of attraction works when we're in alignment. So there's an alignment of thoughts happening at this time. And then the third is call in help. So it's like, you're not alone. You're on the right path. So because you're not alone, you need to remember you're not alone. So action it. So say, angels, thank you for supporting me as I make the next step. Or angels, thank you for bringing to my awareness what I can do in order to move forward. Just a simple invitation to welcome help. And then the numbers start dancing with you.
Thank you. And I think this calling in help or dialing up the angels is so important, because angels, I believe, are around us at every moment. But there's only a certain level at which, thank you, angels, thank you, angels, thank you. I'm living in that space, continuous communication as best as I can. I don't claim to have your ability to see that you do, but I'm continuously calling on. Your book is reminding me to call even more. What changes if we call on the angels versus if we just know they're there?
As soon as you welcome in support, it means that they can start leading you according to divine law, divine plan, rather than your plan. And I think that, often when people ask God or the angels or the universe, whatever you want to call it, for help, we also have at the back of our mind an ideal solution or outcome. And the angels don't work like that. The angels are here to help us with what we need rather than what we want. And there's a real difference there. And so when you start saying, thank you for bringing to my awareness what I can do next, or thank you for supporting me making the next step, it's according to the divine plan, what's for your highest good rather than what is ideal for your choice. And so in that moment, you kind of step out of the way and you go into a gentle surrender. And I think even just that gentle surrender or that willingness to be helped more can then start allowing miracles to unfold.
Beautiful. So you could almost say it's. I'm going to give an addendum to step 3, which is call in the angels and let go of the outcome.
Right. And that's because I think there's different parts to it. I think the universe wants to honor our free will and our own experience. And of course we can direct our own life. But I think also we can be very attached to how certain circumstances need to go in order for our prayers to be answered, but it doesn't work that way. So if you're starting to see numbers and they're aligning and they're showing up everywhere, it's probably because you are in some way magical and magnetic at this time. You've made a conscious step or choice. I want to make a difference, or I want to live in a more purposeful way, or I just want to be in deeper connection to myself, or I want to make, my family's life better. Any of these thoughts are service thoughts. And so the universe then starts reflecting back to you little signposts and reminders saying, hey, I'm hearing your thoughts. Here's a little thing for you to notice and give you an action step. So you can then say, okay, I realize you're now showing up. Thank you for taking me to the next phase.
Woohoo! So
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I want to dive in.
Cheers to that.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, Kyle. I want to dive into some specific numbers, simple ones. But before we do that, how can angel numbers and being in more recognition or almost in a dance with angel numbers help us raise our vibration?
Just by us recognizing that we're part of something greater, and just by us being reminded that we're not alone, already our vibration starts to lift up, because we are then reminded that we're not insignificant. And I think all of us have felt so insignificant in the world, particularly with some of the things that are happening around us and on the news and certain politics and all these different things. We can often feel insignificant. And I think it's a little message to us that the slight adjustment of our thoughts, our actions, and our non-actions can make the world of a difference. And so as soon as we start to realize that a slight change of our thoughts can make a difference, then our vibration's high.
Woohoo! I just came up with a fun idea. Numbers and lasers. I just put the two of them together. You may have had this thought before, maybe not. But it's the thought of, if we're all insignificant, we're all little diffuse light bulbs pointing in our own direction, making the world glow a little bit brighter. However, if we bring all those light bulbs together, one, and have the same focus, all of a sudden we go from being a diffuse light to a true laser beam that can burn through steel and can change everything.
Right. I love that. It reminds me of like one of the old Louise Hay tapes. She was speaking about when all minds think of love, we all unite in love. And I just always had that strong vision of, all these minds all around the world going beyond linear time, space, and sequence, aligning, So yeah, absolutely.
I got an email from a friend this morning who please forgive me for sharing this email to my friend. He said, do you have a plan B? Meaning, crap is starting to go down in the world. Are you planning to protect yourself? And instead, my plan B is I'm going to love. And how many people can I bring to the love and to the light and get us all together at this time to create a critical mass? And I think that's what the angels are doing with numbers right now. In fact, you talk about double and triple digits as angels shouting to get our attention.
Right. It's like, if you've ever used like angel cards or something similar to oracle cards and you just keep picking the same card all the time, it's like the angels screaming, they're like, are you listening to me?
Hello.
I think the angels are not these enlightened beings, but they're our spiritual siblings. They're kind of like our big brothers and sisters, and they're like the caring, loving, supportive sibling that wants to guide us. So sometimes if you think about your big brother, your big sister, or a sibling, sometimes they have to raise their voice. Sometimes they kind of lay down the law a little bit, Sometimes they have a little bit of force in them, but they always mean love. And that's essentially what the angels are doing when I say they're shouting. It's like, they're like, yo, dude, you don't recognize how powerful you are right now.
So many of us have had the occasion, and if we haven't had the occasion personally, if we're authors, we've had somebody write in who has had the occasion of a book knocked off the shelf, falling on somebody's head, and they pick up our book. Are angels mischievous?
I would say no, but they're tactical. Yeah, I've heard people speak about books landing on the floor or falling off of shelves. Really interesting. I've also had these encounters in my professional life where people don't know me, but they know my book. Mm-hmm. You know, like I was in New York last May for a conference, and I was buying a jacket in a store, like, you know, and the cashier was like, so what do you do? Why are you here? And I was like, I'm here for a conference. I'm an author. I write books. And the guy beside him was like, oh, that's cool. And then he was like, so what kind of books do you write? And I was like, I write spiritual books about angels and about vibration. And the guy goes, did you write Raise Your Vibration? You know, just like that. And I was like, yes. And he's like, your book saved my life. Like, you know, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? I'm standing in the middle of New York City, you know, a long way away from home. And here's this guy just in a random store who knew my book, but he didn't know me. And I just think it's pretty amazing, you know.
It's we had on Daniel Bruce Levin, and he was the chief business officer, I believe is his official term, for Hay House. Took him from 3 million to 100 million with Reed. And he talks about how we're all part of, and it's his latest book, The Mosaic. We're all part of this interwoven fabric. There is nothing that is not us. And when you pull or create on one piece of the fabric, on one part of the universe, it's completely affecting everything, as you have, all the way across the pond.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool. I remember my sunglasses steaming up because I was crying as I walked up the street, you know, just like feeling so, you know, of service. It was really awesome.
So let's go from there in that service. I'm going to ask you about a few numbers here, but I'm also going to lead the witness because you don't have to have the numbers memorized. However, We'll talk about a few repeating digits that are very interesting. And these are ones that I'm biased. These are me search, we'll call it, that Jessica and I get all the time. 1010, on the cusp of something miraculous. What can you tell us?
1010 is a good one because it's about one with God, one with God. So it's like, I am one with the divine. So zeros are about the universe as in God, the God particle, the beginning, the original cell. So when you get 1010, it's like, I am one with the universe and God. I am one with the universe and God. So it's like you are actually in a very miraculous state right now. And everything that you are doing is all coming together in the perfect time-space sequence. But your time and God's time are two different times. And it's about being more receptive to a greater unfolding rather than trying to force something to happen.
I like it very much. We talked about 1111 or 1111, so we'll skip past that to 1212, healing and light.
1212 is interesting because that's about, so ones are about being one, and two is about how you influence other people. It's about unions, partnerships. And so if you're seeing 1212, it's about recognizing that what you're doing and how you're being is ultimately affecting those around you. So it's inviting you to step forward and act from a more loving space. You know, seeing the other person's point of view, being more mindful, more compassionate, more supportive.
Awesome. And then one that's really near and dear to my heart. I mentioned that I have twin titanium hips and twin titanium femurs, two NDEs, completely separate. The doctor said there were no odds. In fact, when they had me the day after surgery the second time, he's like, how'd you get the x-ray up already on your website? I'm like, what are you talking about? It was identical, the hardware that they put in on one leg as the other, which changed a 1-inch leg length discrepancy to even. The two accidents happened 7 years, 1 month, 17 days apart. 7117.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's just like a 7-11 sandwich. Wow. I love 7-Eleven, the numbers, because it reminds me of a Beyonce song whenever I hear 7-Eleven. But 7 is, again, magic. 11 is about aligning with the divine in order to bring your attentions into reality. And then 7 is about magic. So it's interesting because if you look at 11, it's actually 2 legs in the middle.
You've got a good point here. And then the other, actually, it's a femur and a hip. Makes up each 7.
And the other one looks like a joint. I was going to say it looks like 2 joints and 2 legs. But no, I would say if 7117 is basically realizing that you have an opportunity to live in a magical way. I think that's really what that message is all about. I want to tell you about my favorite.
Please do. Go, Kyle, go.
I bought it today. I was going to show you. I use supplements, just like everyone.
Yep.
And I ordered some supplements today. And when I ordered them, my order was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I was like, that's so
and that's
cool.
Goes both directions.
I was going to show you on my phone, but I didn't take a photo. I was like so excited when I saw it, because my favorite number sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, which I call the ladder.
Yeah.
And it's like the angels acknowledging the steps that you're taking are taking you further up, or you're moving upwards towards something. If you see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, it's about things being easy, as if 1, 2, 3.
I like it. Here's what we got before we started the show, kept coming, and we grabbed this number and tried to bring light to it because there's so much darkness to it, and we literally launched our show on this date after we're going, why is it coming? 911. We wanted to take this number back and bring it into the light.
I would love to remember what I had written in the book about that one, but I remember it being...
I opened to the page before. I just opened to it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Shall I read it?
Yeah, please do.
You are infinitely and cosmically connected to every living thing that is, has been, and ever will be. Connect to the wisdom that you are aligned with at this time.
Yeah, I like that, because 9s are about... the receptive aspect of divinity, like receiving, allowing something to come through. And again, 11 is just about being one with the universe.
Awesome. From there, a couple triple digits. 222. So many people get this one.
222 is a really good one because it tells you that you're a healer, that your life is not by mistake. You have an amazing infectious energy to help others.
333.
Well, that's strongly associated with Christ energy because of lots of ancient teachings talking about Jesus being 33 and all these different things. So 3 for me is the number of Jesus and the masters. Whenever you see 333, you're surrounded by the great wisdom teachers who have been on this path before you. They're here to lead and guide you.
Thank you. 2 more. One that we get, Jessica and I get a lot, but a dear friend texts us whenever she sees it, like on a license plate. She sees it all around her. 444.
Angels. It's like AAA, angels. 444 is ultimately the angel number. And 4s are about communication. So when you see lots of 4s, it's about you opening up communication with divine beings.
And then one Jessica and I keep getting a lot as well, 555.
Ka-ching. 5's
all right, we'll take it.
It's the manifestation number. It's about abundance being given to you. But it is a number of action, I have to say. Whenever you see 5s, it's like, don't sit on this. Make action and you'll receive abundance.
How important is it when we get these numbers to take your 3 steps from before, to take action in that moment rather than going, yeah, that's cool, and going about our lives?
I was one of these people who was like so busy taking a photo of it that I was missing the magic in the moment. Like we live in this photo culture. I take photos of the food before I eat it. I don't even know if it's good yet. So, I realized that in those moments, that veil between the worlds and the universe it's not there. We're literally one. We're like united in thought. And so I think these moments are downloads. So I always just say, thank you, angels, for revealing to me what I need to know. I am willing to listen. And even if I'm not hearing anything, I'm trusting that I am receiving, through the spiritual broadband, a download of information that will unveil in the perfect space.
Thank you so much. What you're suggesting, and by tuning into the numbers today, it's a whole new language of both communicating with the angels, but also of being open and receptive. And my guess is maybe that's a mission of this book. The more that we recognize the numbers, the more that it's law of attraction taken to the next level is understanding not only what you think about, do you bring about, but what you put your mind on, you are both attracting in and becoming more aware of. As you become more of the aware of the numbers, you start to develop more of a relationship, don't you?
Yeah, and it's like a language. People speak about in a lot of ancient teachings and channelings about light language, like angels sending codes through light. And I actually think the numbers are interpreting that. They're receiving, we can't even fully comprehend the language that they're speaking in, but in some way the numbers are a guide to help us see some of it,
Awesome. Woohoo! Would you
I'm
mind?
into that.
We're going to talk a little bit more about helping people tune in before we wrap things up. But before we do that, would you be able to do a small card reading for Jessica and myself? Maybe we could actually do 2 short readings, one for us and one for our listeners.
Sure. So I've been, I've created loads of card decks, but I've made this combination deck recently. Called the Mega Deck, and it's when you mix the archangels from one deck with the ascended masters from another. Ooh. And you get like this archangels and ascended masters card deck, and it's really fun. So I think what I always share from the angels, a little bit different from a traditional reading, even if I use cards, is I like to acknowledge your strength, your heart, and then your challenge. Because I think if you do past, present, future, we're trying to, I think the angels don't work on that linear time scale anymore. They're more about the now. So if we look at your strength right now, your heart energy right now, and what you need to work on right now, that might give you a greater sense of awareness.
Thank you.
So you just want to do a random 3-card pull and see what comes through? 1, 2, 3. I'll say, earlier on when you asked me if I would do a reading for you off camera, I was like, I don't know how much I feel about this. And I think often the reason I feel like that is because I don't want to divulge or go where maybe I'm not supposed to go or anything like that. But I want to just say this to you from your guides, that there was a message that
I want to give you, you have carte blanche, go anywhere.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to say this to you. I kept hearing your guides calling you brother, and there was a lesson in that. I think that often, because you have such a profound respect for the teachings and a profound respect for this work, that sometimes you forget your divinity in it all. And the angels were calling you brother to help you come to a more equal par with them, because I think you keep them as these high esteemed guests that are working in your life. But I think they can become an even greater part of your life's mission when you stop making them so special, because they are here to see you eye to eye, heart to heart. And I think they want to become a greater part of your mission. And I think maybe you saying to me, I've never seen an angel, or maybe I've never seen these angels the same way as you, is because you're making them more special than you are. Okay. And the angels are here to remind you of your significance and to, in some way, tell you that you're one of them.
I have no idea what to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the cards for you today was your strength was psychic insight, Odin. And so this is a really cool card, because whenever this comes up to you, it says your strength is the fact that you have this capacity to see between the lines. So in your current situation for you and Jessica, I think there's a part of you, it's like, there's more to this. We need to see beyond what we can see, or reading between the lines and trusting that there's something more to this. It's funny because when I feel that, I've got this sense of urgency inside me, and I feel like a feeling of wanting to move, or I want to change something. Like I feel like I want to physically lift something up and move it. But I also feel like the guidance to this is to take a moment and to reflect on the current situation, everything that's involved, and also to be centered. So there might be a feeling of wanting to move, but you're being guided to actually earth down, like stay put.
Thank you.
The next card is an archangel. It's Archangel Raziel. He's the heart card for you today. And it's interesting because it's a very similar card from a different deck. It's the card of spiritual gifts. And whenever that comes, it's about awakening. The Raziel as an archangel is kind of like a sadhu. He's like a wandering man. You know, if you think of the ancient sages of India where they would wander all the way through life, he's always there for people who have this longing to keep journeying and to keep seeking and to keep searching. But his gift is to pull you away from the traveling and the moving into the heart, because inside the cave of the heart is the temple to God. So whenever he comes up, it's like, what you're looking for is already here. What you're searching for is already here. So I don't know what's going on in your current life or wherever you are, or what your big question is, but why do I feel this sense of wanting to move when I'm being told to stay put?
It's fascinating. There are many pieces in motion, and we definitely get to ground into them because we do feel a sense of, well, we get to move forward on this now quickly. We get to move forward on the other now quickly. And I believe the unfoldings will take place if we can dial back.
Right. It's about scaling. Quickly. Yeah. Because it feels to me that in some way, you know, in the spiritual world, I think there's a business aspect to it and all the other things that come along with that of like next project, next thing. Whereas I feel like when we're doing this work, there's a birth. You know, it's like we have to give birth and we have to nurse what we gave birth to. And it's about having this sense of a place where you can settle down and feel safe and nurture before having to do anything else.
You said the word nurture. I looked up at my recording time and it said 4-4. It ticked over 4-4-4-4.
Sweet. Hi, angels. Your challenge card is Paul the Venetian. I don't know if you've heard of this Ascended Master.
No, I haven't.
You know, he was this famous painter from Italy, and he painted the roof of all those famous chapels. He's all about perfectness and doing things with a finesse and style. And that's your challenge card. So that's your challenge about always wanting to do things just so right and perfect and in this graceful way. And I feel like the message here is be less about perfection and more about grace. Be less about the finishing touches and more about how it feels, because that's what's going to serve you more.
Thank you. Would you mind pulling a card or three you're calling for people who are listening, if they were attracted to listen to this today?
You know what? I bet you so many people will get a message in the message I gave to you. I always find that. I'm going to pick a card for you all, and it's the one I posted on my Instagram yesterday. It's Lord Ganesh.
Oh, I love
Ganesh.
Know,
Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. You know, I love Ganesh because he is the ultimate obstacle remover. And whenever this being shows up for you, it's because you are being showered and surrounded in infinite abundance. So if you're listening to this right now and you don't know why you were here for this conversation, it's a message to you that ultimately you are supported. And it's a message to you that the help that you require, the support that you require, the guidance that you require is nothing more than a thought away. And it's about you just opening up and just giving that presence a chance to support you. So it's ultimately about spiritual support and connections increasing. And any obstacles that you are facing right now are actually not obstacles, but opportunities. They're opportunities for you to recognize that maybe this is not the right step for you, or they're not the right direction for you. But an opportunity for you to think in a more conscientious, loving way about yourself and what you want for your life.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Kyle. What is one way today, now in this moment, we can all begin to tune in more?
My angels gave me 3 keys to connecting with them that I tell everyone I get the opportunity to. They're called the 3 Nesses. The first one is openness. The second one is willingness. And the third one is worthiness. So the first step is, if you've got barricades around your heart right now, invite the angels to drop them down for you and allow them to put ones of light up around you, because their way of protecting you is so much greater than your own.
I'm like teacher waving my hand here. You don't understand. Our next book is The Open-Hearted Warrior. That's what our next book is. You just spelled it out. I love you, man. Awesome.
Thank you. What's the next one?
Willingness.
Oh, yeah. Willingness. Willingness is super amazing, because a lot of us are scared to have a spiritual experience, you know. A lot of people are scared of having a spiritual experience because they might think it's unsafe or it's out of control. But the truth of the matter is, and this story goes all the way back to biblical times, whenever angels showed up to anyone, particularly Mary in spiritual text, they always said, "Do not be afraid, for I am an angel of the Lord." And it wasn't, "Don't be afraid because I'm an angel." It was, "Don't be afraid of being this powerful." So if you're scared of having a spiritual experience, it's because there's a part of you that's scared about owning your power. So if you're ready to live in a new world, you have to take back what you gave away. So in order to do that, you just have to say, "Angels, I'm willing to experience you."
Awesome.
This easy part. And the final part is worthiness. That's it. It's the key to experiencing angels. The angels were made for you. You are their purpose. If you are not asking your angels to help you, you are leaving a divine being jobless. That's it. Right? And so the fact that they were made for you makes you worthy enough to experience them. So 3 steps: no longer needing to protect yourself, being willing to have a spiritual experience because you deserve to be that powerful, and recognizing that you're worthy of your angel's love.
Thank you so much. That gets me to really my last question before we wind down and do a brief meditation here, which is, people today, we're having our Open-Hearted Warrior boot camps. We do all these different things, and people are coming in feeling less worthy than ever, or feeling like they are not allowed to forgive themselves. What's the importance of loving ourselves, maybe now more than ever?
You know, I think in order for us to get beyond the institutions that are running the world, which is constantly putting us into class and order, we have to recognize that we are buying into their propaganda by not feeling good enough. And so I often usually catch parents out, and parents especially, I'll be like, they're like, I don't feel worthy. And I always say, "So do you have a child?" And they'll usually say yes. And I'll be like, "So would you like your child to feel the way you're feeling?" They're like, "No." And then I always say, "So why are you showing them how to do it?" And they're always like, boom, you know, like, so I think we owe it to the rest of humanity by showing ourselves respect and, you know, recognizing that there's something worth loving in us. We're also paving the way for the future. And if we recognize that loving ourselves is actually service, then it makes it more easy.
I was going to ask you, Kyle, can we ask the angels to help us forgive ourselves? But I need to actually go step back. 1/2 step, which is, what do we do if we don't believe we're worthy of forgiveness?
You know, forgiveness is a huge conversation in itself. It's something I've spent a lot of time looking into. if you don't feel worthy of forgiveness, it doesn't matter, because forgiveness is not something that can be forced. It's an organic process. And even if you don't feel willing, even if you don't feel worthy, you can still be willing to be forgiven. I might not feel worthy of forgiveness, but I'm willing to be forgiven. Ooh. And I think willingness can lead us to a deeper sense of worthiness.
Woohoo!
I love the Nesses. The willingness and worthiness are like two of my things I go to like almost every day.
How would you do that? How would you weave that in on a daily basis? What would be a situation that you weave that in?
Like I think all of us, I get annoyed at myself in some of, like I can be really hot-headed, and as much as I can be seen quite laid back at times, I am a firecracker, especially in specific circumstances like traveling. And, sometimes I get annoyed at myself how I act or whatever. And then I realize that me holding that on myself, I understand why I'm doing that, because I'm saying, okay, I don't want to act like this. I want to change my frequency. I want to be in a more serving way. So I acknowledge that. But I also recognize that me holding a grudge on me isn't actually serving the world, And so I recognize that this is a weight that I don't need to carry. And this is a weight that's going to contribute to more angst in the world rather than support. So I'm willing to change how I feel about it. And I love this quote from A Course in Miracles that I always go to. It says, God does not forgive, for he has never condemned. And I just freaking love that. I'm like, my source is not holding this on me, so why am I?
Woohoo!
Now, like that can open up a can of worms of conversation about all different types of people in the world. And of course, there's some situations and experiences that are more drastic and harmful than others. So I think every situation to forgiveness is different, but even in the people that I've met, like I'll never forget the one time a woman came to my office and she had murdered her husband and hid him, and here I am receiving communication from his soul. And the first thing he tells her is that she is forgiven, that blew my mind right open. So I think forgiveness is possible for anyone. But forgiveness isn't about letting yourself or someone away with the bad behavior. It's not about letting it slip. It's just realizing that feeling isn't contributing to greatness, and that it's about no longer allowing that behavior to represent your current state of happiness.
Awesome. Any last words of wisdom, Kyle, before we dive into a meditation?
No, because I want to just, the words I have for this meditation, I think you'll like.
Very, very cool. So if you're not driving down the road, get comfortable, follow along with Kyle. If you are driving, pull to the side or wait to do this later.
This is just a really simple couple of minutes meditation that you can use to start your day or to shift your thinking or your heart set. And it's about inviting the angel into your vision so that you can see the world differently. So I'm going to get you just to open your palms up towards the sky, roll your shoulders back and down and away from the ears, lift up from the heart space, switch on your smile, and begin to charge up your breath. Breathe in a way that feels comfortable and uplifting. And as you exhale, just allow yourself to release and let go of anything that could be clogging up your mind or your heart or your day. And I invite you now to think about something that you're grateful for. Something that lights you up from the inside out. It could be someone or something, your health, a place, a memory. But as you dial into the energy of gratitude, recognize that the gratitude you feel is generating a golden light in the center of your chest, at your heart. And this golden light is like a spiritual car wash that begins to wash its way through your entire body and energy body. So imagine in your mind this golden light is dancing over and through every cell on your skin, every major organ of your body, from the tips of your fingers, the tips of your toes, to the crown of your head. And the light that you see, it's your light. Today you are invited to bask within it. This great light within you is never going to go out. And whenever you face uncertainty, this light has an opportunity to shine. Thank you for being that light. But this light is attractive in nature. And it draws towards you other great lights, and they are known as angels. Angels of pure divine light stand on your left, your right, before you, behind you, above and below you, holding you, encircling you in a sacred and safe space for you to be yourself. One angel steps forward and closer than the others. And this angel has the capacity and ability to help you see the world differently. So if there's something in your life that you're concerned about, worried about, fearful about, think of it now. And then say this prayer. Into my vision, would you enter now, dear angel, so that I may see the world through your most holy eyes. So into my vision would you enter now, dear angel, so I may see the world through your most holy eyes. And as you invite the angel to step into your vision, you set the intention to see the situation differently. And even if you can't see it differently right now, the willingness is enough. The willingness opens you up to the totality of possibility and allows you to attract a miraculous solution into this situation. When you're ready, bring your hands onto the heart space. With you now are holy angels. You are not alone. And these angels have been here this entire time, waiting here in the now for you to arrive. Take a moment to share your silent thoughts of gratitude, because these angels will never leave your side. When you're ready, take a big deep breath. Let it all go. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you, angels. It feels so good to know you are here in the now. And so it is. And when you're ready, allow yourself to come back into this room with the knowing that you are surrounded by angels of light.
Woohoo! Oh my God, Kyle. This was amazing today.
Thank you very much. That was really great. I enjoyed it.
Where can people go to find out more, Kyle, to find your beautiful, beautiful books such as Angel Numbers, and to find out about you speaking stateside in Tampa at the beginning of May?
I love that. Thank you. You know, that book hit the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, so I'm very grateful for that to everyone who supported it, which is a big deal. And I'm coming to Tampa, Florida on the 3rd of May. It's going to be so amazing to lead a one-day workshop on angels. And the best way to keep up with me is kylegray.co.uk or .co.uk, as they say in the US. That's the best place to keep up with me.
So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get angel numbers, and begin understanding your angel messages today and shine bright. Woohoo!
Thank you. See you soon.
Awesome, 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 Kyle. Thank you so much.
That was really great.
Yay. I don't have to give you double your interview back?
No, that's great. No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me and for being so open and receptive.
What a beautiful, heart-centered, I'm without words, which isn't necessarily the best thing as a host, but I'm without words interview with Kyle Gray. Oh my God. Check out the numbers. Dive into the angels. Communicate with the angels. I hope this interview is life-changing for you as I'm sure it will be for me. Love you guys so much. Leave your comments. Leave your questions below. Be sure to give this a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe. Shine bright. Love you guys so much. Follow us on Instagram and all social media. And I think I already said it, but shine bright. Woohoo! Love you guys so much.